Microphone check 1 2 1 2. This is your host, not son, baby. And this is another episode of Swingers After Dark. You know, that's an epidemic that's going on. And that epidemic is called clout chasing. And, you know, for those who don't know what clout chasing is, it's kind of like trolling. You know, when people troll, they just say anything for attention. They say any and everything for attention. But, you know, clout chasing is when you troll a particular person, whether you know that person or you don't. It's like clout chasing will be me as a podcaster picking fights with other podcasters that I don't even know. But because I may feel jealous or envious about this particular podcaster or content creator or YouTuber, I'm a clout chase for attention, because attention is a drug. Not only is the new currency, attention is a drug that a lot of people are fiending to get. And, you know, a lot of people want that blue check. You know, they cannot cash that blue check, but they want that blue check next to their name on Instagram, you know, Facebook, Twitter, whatever the case may be. They want to be verified by hook or by crook. And, you know, it doesn't matter if they look foolish in doing so. And a lot of people will clout chase. They will start beef with you out of nowhere just to get views, just to get downloads, just to get plays. And me personally, I'm not going to go on this fucking podcast to talk about another man. Real talk. I'm not going to dedicate a second to talk about another dude, because that's like the epidemic. You have street dudes, you have gangsters, you have thugs, or you got so-called, you know, criminals going on YouTube to beef with each other. It's like, I don't get it. It's like social media reveals the corniness of people. And I'm starting to lose a lot of respect for a lot of dudes who I had respected in the past, because I'm like this. If I know you, you personally know me, and you have an issue with me, like, inbox me, text me, email me. If you don't have my number, inbox me, and I would be happy to give you my fucking number so we could talk this out like men. But what we're not going to do is, I'm not going to go on Facebook Live or Instagram Live or any other live or YouTube and go back and forth with you like a bunch of broads. You know, men do not do that. And, you know, a lot of dudes, they do not have a guy code. You know, they got this energy. I wouldn't even say feminine energy, even though I expect women. I expect females to go back and forth and be catty on social media. I don't expect dudes to do that shit. But you have a lot of dudes who are fiending for attention like it's a drug. They fiending for it. And it's like, you know, there's certain behaviors. You know, a lot of people want to talk about this gender fluidity. But I'm like this, baby. There's certain behaviors that separate men and women. You know, there's certain things that's acceptable by men, and there's certain things that are acceptable by women. But what's not acceptable is that, you know, men, we should have an end game. When we have a conversation, you know, every interaction is a transaction, meaning you should have an end game of why you're doing something. And that end game should produce results. Because as men, we're supposed to be producers. You know, that doesn't mean you have to be at a certain status. I don't give a fuck if you're, you know, it doesn't matter how much money you're making per se, as long as you're producing and striving to, you know, better your situation. But that's a whole nother discussion. You know, when we speak or when we do things for results. You feel me? And, you know, going back and forth with somebody on social media, what's the result of that? You know, y'all just gossiping like a little bitch. So I don't get the reason why dudes feel the need to go on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or any social media avenue to put each other on blast. It's like, if you really feel a way about this person, meet up with that person. You know, call, text, meet up with that person, instead of going back and forth when you really don't want smoke. And what kills me is when dudes threaten each other online and they say they're going to do this, that, and the third, but you're snitching on yourself, because if something happens to you or if something happens to the other person, then the police or the feds, the alphabet boys, they don't have to look far except for clicking on your channel. And, you know, a lot of dudes are, you know, incriminating themselves on social media. You know, like, if you have beef with somebody, nobody should know. Like, if I have an issue with you, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell the world. When I see you, I'm going to handle the situation accordingly. And that's why It kills me. Well, not even kills me. It baffles me. It leaves me befuddled. Yes, that's the word. Like I'm befuddled when I see so-called gangsters and thugs and criminals go on YouTube and talk shit about each other. I'm like, what part of the fucking game is that? Like, I remember this girl inboxed me. She was like, why you want to talk about certain podcasters because they're fake and they, imposters, they perpetrating. I'm like, look, man, like, I'm not doing this podcast to be messy. You feel me? I'm not a bully. I'm not going out my way to talk about another podcaster, another YouTuber, another content creator. This is not that channel, and I'm not that guy. Like, if I don't fuck with you, if I don't like your philosophies or your methods or your theories or whatever the case may be, I'm not going to give you any shine. I'm going to just ignore it because it's not for me. That man may have followers of his own that fucks with his content. And who is I to say that his shit is wrong? I may not agree with it, but I'm not going to dedicate a podcast episode to tear down the next man, even if I think that motherfucker is a clown, even if I think that he's full of shit. I'm not going to dedicate an episode to talk about another dude. Like that's very like homoerotic. Like if you're a straight male and you dedicating like episodes to talk about another male, it's like you may be sugary. You feel me? You may be a little sweet. Like I expect females to do that. I expect females to clout chase, but not dudes. Like dudes, we agree to disagree, or we just like pull each other to the side. Like if I have an issue with you, I'll pull you to the side and, state my grievance, and we come to a conclusion, whether we want to be diplomatic or you go your way and I go mine, or we could get on some ignorant shit and, box it out. But, when you get to a certain age, you don't do the same shit that you did in your teens and your 20s, fighting over words and dumb shit like that. But don't get it fucked up. I may be diplomatic, but, I got to be savage sometimes. Yes, you got to be savage sometimes because you can't be good all the time because the world is so wicked and the world is cold. And even Jesus told his disciples to carry swords to defend themselves against the Romans. So if I ever get on this podcast to talk about another dude, 9.99999 out of 10 times, I'm on the defense. I may have to roast a motherfucker. I may have to clown a motherfucker. It may be probably like, a minute of clowning somebody. Even then, I may not even say the person's name because I'm not going to give them free promotion. But I may clown the shit out of you just to show you that shit ain't sweet. I may have to barbecue your ass. I may have to roast you, joke on you a certain, but I'm not doing this back and forth thing, yo. It's like, that's feminine to me. I expect women to do that. And it's a shame that I see dudes who I once admired try to tear each other down, or, they going on YouTube to talk about other men, like constant videos to talk about other men. And then you wonder why boys, they don't have a living example of manhood, of masculinity, of what it is to be a man and how you should conduct yourself. Codes of conduct, how a certain etiquette. Not to say that I'm perfect, because, I may fuck up from here, time to time. At the same time, every man got to look in the mirror every day and slap the bitch out of them. Yes. You got to wake up and you remind yourself that, it's certain things that violates the guy code. You feel me? And, a lot of dudes needs to be pimp slapped. Real talk, because certain behaviors are not acceptable, So I just wanted to drop that jewel about the clout chasing that's going on. I'm not using this platform to shit on other podcasters. That's not my style. But hey, if you want to get barbecued and roasted, be my guest. But my thing is this: if I personally know a podcaster and we have an issue, like I will, especially a male, like just inbox me or email me or text me and say, this is the issue, this, done, the third, and then we'll talk it out. But if you're trying to put me on blast about something that could have easily been rectified behind closed doors, I'm not going to respect you. And I probably won't even acknowledge you because you want to be a bitch over attention that you fiending for. It's like I wouldn't even give you the time of day. It was like sometimes you gotta let people hang themselves. You can't fight somebody who's already defeated. They have nothing to lose. They have all to gain and nothing to lose. So that's why you have to pick your battles wisely, because people could come up on clout chasing. They use their name or they use your name to come up, and you give them attention, and all of a sudden they're just as popular as you because you gave them shine just by acknowledging them when you just could have ignored them. Like elephants ignore flies. It don't swat at every fly, or else it would tire itself. And you should do the same thing. Instead of, making yourself tired by swatting every fly and peasant, you should just give them the silent treatment, because, that's how people die breathing. You give them the silent treatment and just let them go away, because kings don't talk to peasants. You feel me? That's how you distinguish yourself from royalty from peasantry. And on that note, this has been another episode of Swingers After Dark, and this is your host, Not Son, baby. Check out my website at www.notsonblaze.com. That's www.nahsunblaze.com. And check out my ebook, You, Me, Us, Them, The Swinging Manifesto. It's on Nook, Kindle, iBooks, Google Play. Go get it. Shoot me an email at swingpodcast@gmail.com. That's swingpodcast@gmail.com. Hit me up with any questions or concerns that you may have. Rate, share, subscribe, and comment on this podcast. Dig. And on that note, until next time, peace.